Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome back to another episode of Panda Rants. I am your host, Panda. Today we are talking NFL trade deadline, winners and losers, aka the Browns. We had a couple college football games last night that I want to get into first. We're talking Heisman Trophy candidates, we're talking World Series, we're talking NHL neck protection. If you saw that, I'm so sorry that you had to see that, and that's why we're talking about it. And then, of course, we have the Steelers versus the Titans tonight. I'm going to get into that, get into some stats. And, of course, as always, I'll throw a couple curveballs in there. I'll have a rant here at the end. I'll also be watching The Covenant today to prepare for Movie Monday with Joe Bob. I cannot wait for that. We have a big interview coming tomorrow. I've got to edit that today. It's going to be amazing. You will love it. And tomorrow is Filthy Friday. Boy, am I excited. Let's get into some college football games. Wednesday night MACtion football. Love to see it. We had Bowling Green and Ball State. Bowling Green pulls it out by 3 in the fourth quarter with a field goal at about 5 minutes left. Ball State just couldn't hold on to the ball, which is kind of ironic, being Ball State. If they don't fumble in the first quarter, they might win this game, 28-24, but we'll never know. The game that I'm more excited to talk about, maybe because, hometown heroes, Akron Zips versus the Kent State Golden Flashes. If you don't know, now you know, this game is one of the biggest rivalries in bad college football. Akron scores 21 points in the fourth quarter to come back and win 31-27. Jeff Undercuffler, with 26 seconds left, runs it in. And I'm sure most of you do not pay attention to Akron Zips football, but I've been to a couple games this year. I watch them on TV. Undercuffler is their second quarterback. Their senior quarterback, DJ Irons, number 0, is out for the year with a torn ACL. But Undercuffler is also a senior, and, it's 6'5", 240. He's a powerful dude. He is a big guy. He will run the ball on you. He will run you over, too. But it was a great game. Obviously, I did not think Akron was going to pull this out. It's not that I don't believe in Akron, but when you're down 27-10 going into the fourth quarter, your chances at winning are very slim, probably single-digit %. But the Zips pull out the win, battle for the wagon wheel. That is the wagon wheel rivalry. Kent State won the last 4 matchups before this one, and Akron won the last 4 before that, so they went 4-4 over the last 8 years, which is an interesting stat. I don't know, maybe it's not that interesting, but go Akron, go Zips. I love to see it. I want to talk some NFL trade deadline. We had a couple very big moves. The Vikings trade for Cardinals quarterback Josh Dobbs. Now, I'm a Josh Dobbs fan. He was great at Tennessee. I loved him as a backup for the Steelers. And with Kirk Cousins being hurt, I'm wondering if Josh Dobbs is going to be their number 2 behind Kirk or if he's their backup to the backup. We'll see how that goes. The Bears trade for Montez Sweat, and the 49ers pick up Chase Young. That might be the biggest move of this year's NFL trade deadline. But with Kirk Cousins having a torn right Achilles, I just feel bad for him. I said it before, and I'll say it again. I love Kirk Cousins. I think he's a good, not great quarterback. Leaning towards great. He's on the higher end of good. But like I said before, the quarterbacks documentary on Netflix really made me a Kirk Cousins fan. I'm sure everyone has seen the Perk Cousins meme of him wearing his teammates' chains in the plane from last year. That also helped a little bit. Shout out to Kirk Cousins. I'm wishing you a speedy recovery. The Commanders kind of suck. They drafted Chase Young over Justin Herbert and Tua. Hindsight's 2020, but come on, man. Commanders are 3-5. They just need a quarterback. So I'm hoping they get one. Actually, I really don't care, to be honest with you. I was really hoping that the Steelers would trade for someone. But at the end of the day, I don't know that they have anybody that they can trade, that they can get rid of and be okay with. They need every single bit of talent that they currently have. So changing that now might have been disastrous for the rest of our season, which isn't looking good already. With Josh McDaniels gone, Jimmy Garoppolo benched. Jimmy Garoppolo's just been awful. So we'll see if Aiden O'Connell can pick it up and make Devontae Adams a little bit happier. That's all I got for trade deadline news. let's get into some Heisman candidate ranking. Right now on ESPN, they're calling Michael Penix Jr. from Washington the number one candidate at the moment. I think this dude's name is funny as hell. Penix? I mean, come on, dude. Maybe I'm 13 at heart, but that's fucking funny. He's at almost 3,000 yards. He's thrown 24 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. Almost a 70% completion percentage. I see why he's ranked number one. Following behind him is LSU's quarterback Jaden Daniels. Now, his stats, he's a little bit more of a mobile quarterback. He's only got 2,500 passing yards, which is still amazing. Don't get me wrong. 30 total touchdowns, 73% completion. Holy shit. 521 rushing yards as a quarterback. I love to see that. And I think a lot of that is coming from that LSU and Ole Miss game. I mean, he was just on one. Coming in third, we have our hometown hero, Marvin Harrison Jr. Now, if you are my age or older and you're listening to this, you know that his dad was a baller, an absolute dog. Marvin Harrison played for the Colts. He shaped the way that I feel about football when I was younger. He was one of my favorite players. I have multiple Marvin Harrison cards. None of them are worth anything, just like all of the cards that I own. But hey, that's a different story for a different day. Marvin Harrison's got 890 receiving yards, 8 total touchdowns, 18.5 yards per catch on 48 receptions. He's a dog. Yards after catch, he is, in my opinion, the best wide receiver in the NCAA right now. I'm excited to see where he goes from here. And coming up in fourth, we have Jordan Travis, Florida State's quarterback. And I can see why he's fourth, but honestly, I don't even put this guy in the running. 2,100 passing yards, 24 touchdowns, 64% completion, and 205 rushing yards. I mean, he deserves to be mentioned. I'll give him that, but there's a reason he's not in the top 3. And unless he pulls out some crazy stat lines and some ridiculous moves for the rest of the season, I don't see him winning the Heisman or even coming close. Now, ESPN is ranking at number 5, Bo Nix from Oregon. And maybe I'm biased. I don't know why I would be biased, but maybe I am. The man's got 2,300 passing yards, 24 total touchdowns, and a 78.3% completion. 78.3%. That's ridiculous. So those are ESPN rankings. I'm going to give you my own rankings. I think Jaden Daniels from LSU should be number 1. Maybe his stats aren't as good as Michael Penix Jr., but is the Heisman committee really going to pick somebody whose last name sounds like penis? Maybe I'm 13. Again, maybe I'm 13 and I think that's way too funny or funnier than it should be, but I'm not giving him a fucking Heisman trophy. Jaden Daniels, he's my number 1 pick. I would love to see it go to Marvin Harrison Jr., get a wide receiver in the mix. He's a dog. I don't see the Heisman committee taking a wide receiver this year unless Marvin Harrison just absolutely balls out, which, I mean, he has been. Ohio State still has to play Michigan, Michigan State, and Minnesota. They play Rutgers this Saturday. I mean, yeah, it's Big Ten football, so maybe Rutgers will give them something, but I don't see that being an issue. Michigan State and Minnesota, not ranked teams, but teams that could definitely give Ohio State some trouble. And I've been saying this since they played Notre Dame. And when they were going into the Penn State game, I was not confident with Ohio State at all. And it's not that I don't think Ohio State is great. Just statistically, their schedule prior to the Penn State game was abysmal. They played Indiana, trash, Youngstown State, trash, Western Kentucky, trash, but shout out Hilltoppers. They barely pull it out against ranked 12 Notre Dame, and Notre Dame is good this year. That's nothing against Notre Dame. Ohio State barely beat them. They come back the next week and beat Maryland. They beat Purdue. And again, up until this Penn State game, they've played one ranked opponent, and it was Notre Dame, who they barely beat. They pull it out by 8 points against Penn State. They keep their rankings going. They keep their undefeated season. They beat Wisconsin last week. And Ohio State has a history of not playing well in the first half. They have a history of being a second half team, and I don't know that that's going to be enough against Michigan. I do think they beat Rutgers, Michigan State, and Minnesota. Like I said, Michigan State and Minnesota, those are going to be some hard-nosed, closer games. Not as close as, Ohio State and Notre Dame, but I don't think it's going to be a 50-burger or anything crazy. I'm excited to see them play Michigan here at the end of the year. As we all know, Michigan has been facing some serious allegations about sign stealing. If you're not familiar with the story, a Michigan staffer by the name of Connor Stallions reportedly has a 400 to 500 page manifesto. Nobody in the history of the world has ever written a good manifesto. Imagine being Jim Harbaugh and finding out that this dude has written an entire novel about how he's going to take over the football program. So the allegations are that Connor Stallions basically set up a system to where he was sending people to games to watch and record and note the other team's signals so that Michigan could use those signals against them and have the upper hand when it comes to play calling. Now, if these allegations are true, that's disgusting. It's a disgrace to the sport of football. It's a disgrace to competitiveness. It's a disgrace to football fans everywhere. And knowing Jim Harbaugh, he's been in the game for a long time, man. I mean, this is not his first, second, or third rodeo. Just like Tony Soprano, just like every mob boss in history, if he does know about it, he's going to make sure that on paper, there's no way to know that he knew about it. But those allegations are still unfolding. The investigation is still ongoing. It seems that the public really believes these allegations, and it might just be because everyone hates Michigan. Fuck Michigan. If you're from Michigan and you're listening to this, I'm sorry, but fuck Michigan. The only person I know that lives in Michigan is an Ohio State fan. So if you're listening, shouts out. You're a real one. But that got off course a little bit. I want to talk World Series. Now, to those of you that do know me personally, you know that I'm not a baseball fan. I don't hate baseball. I have no problem with baseball. I just find it to be, and I don't mean any offense, the most boring sport in the world. I would rather watch cricket or women's soccer than MLB baseball. In baseball's defense, it's top 3 hardest sports in the world, and it's probably not number 3. To hit a fastball, a 98-mile-an-hour fastball, to hit a home run, like that takes an amount of skill that I will never have. And there's 2 different types of skill when it comes to sports. Golf, bowling, that's a repetition skill. That's a skill that you build over time. It's slow, it's monotonous, but once you get it down, you got it down. Baseball is variable skill. You're not getting the same pitch every time. You're not getting the same speed every time. You're getting curveballs, fastballs, knuckleballs, sliders. Hitting a home run in the MLB might be the most difficult thing behind a hole-in-one. And a hole-in-one, again, is a different type of skill. And it's also a little bit of luck. But I digress. The Rangers win the series 4-1. In game 4, they won 11-7. And see, I don't know enough about baseball to know how the Diamondbacks win 9-1 and then get shut out for the rest of the series. A quick rundown for anybody that hasn't been paying attention. Game 1 was Rangers 6-5. Game 2, Diamondbacks 9-1. Game 3, Rangers 3-1. Game 4, Rangers 11-7. And I think my favorite part about this, they shut them out 5-0 to win the World Series. Now, winning a World Series has got to be an amazing feeling, just like anything, winning an NBA championship, winning the Super Bowl, winning the Stanley Cup. But to win in Game 5 by 5 runs and shutting out your opponent, I just want to give a big shout out to the Texas Rangers. That's awesome. Congratulations. I'm looking forward to next year, but not really, because I do not give a single fuck about baseball. Again, I give baseball the respect it deserves. People that play baseball, people that are good at baseball, it's not easy to do, but I fucking hate it. And speaking of the Stanley Cup, I want to talk about something terrible that happened recently. American hockey player Adam Johnson. He played 13 games for the Penguins between 2019 and 2020. During his game playing for the Nottingham Panthers in a Challenge Cup game against the Sheffield Steelers, shouts out Steelers, didn't know that there were anyone else named the Steelers, he suffered a cut to his neck via skate in the second period in the Elite Ice Hockey League game in Sheffield. This killed him. He died playing hockey. And before I get into this, my heart goes out to his team, his teammates, his family, and really everyone that plays hockey at a level like that. I was talking to my dad earlier today, and I asked him if he had heard about that, and he just shook his head and looked away. And if that's how we feel about it, I cannot imagine being one of his teammates, one of his opponents, someone in the stands. I truly hope that they have some type of therapy or counselors to come in and talk about that and really make sure everybody's okay. I'm going to start crying. I mean, these guys are playing their hardest every single day. They're playing the sport that they love. They've been doing this their entire life. And to see someone's life end in front of you in such a violent fashion, it's one thing if it happens to you on the street, but the last place anyone ever expects that to happen is in a professional game. Look at Damar Hamlin. That was an absolute tragedy. Sorry, I had to take a second because this makes me terribly sad. I got to stop talking about it. I'm sorry. Rest in peace to Adam Johnson. It's just terrible. And this is leading to the NHL reconsidering their neck protections for their players. The Pittsburgh Penguins have come out and they are talking about wanting neck guards to be mandatory. And I agree with them. In the wake of something like this, if you don't take measures for it to not happen again, it's bound to happen again. It's absolutely terrible. Again, my sincerest condolences to Adam's family, his partner, his teammates, to his teammates in Pittsburgh, and to hockey players everywhere, because this is a eye-opening moment that we are all fragile, we are all human, and this could have happened to anyone. On a different note, I want to get into Steelers versus Titans, Thursday night football tonight. You know me. As a Steelers fan, of course I'm excited for this. I'm not getting my hopes up. But there are some interesting stats. As we all know, Pittsburgh's offense is ranked 30th in the league in yards, 29th in points, 31st in first downs, 29th in average yards per run, 30th in scoring percentage. It's not looking good for the Steelers. But what they do have going for them, they are number 1 in the league in recovered fumbles. They are number 2 in the league in forced turnovers. Their defense, this reminds me of when Ben Roethlisberger was getting his start. I don't know if anyone remembers. Tommy Maddox got hurt. Ben Roethlisberger comes in, takes them to a 15-1 season. They lose in the AFC Championship to the Patriots, and the next year they win the Super Bowl. When that happened, the Steelers' defense was keeping them in every single game. You had Troy Polamalu, dog, James Ferrier, dog, Larry Foote, Ike Taylor, Joey Porter, James Harrison, Deshae Townsend, Kimo von Oelhoffen, Brett Kiesel. I mean, the Steelers' defense was fucking lit that year. And this defense reminds me of that defense. I don't think this defense is as powerful as that defense was. I mean, to have James Ferrier, Larry Foote, and James Harrison and Joey Porter on the same fucking defense, dude, dogs. Troy Polamalu and Ike Taylor, dogs. Kimo von Oelhoffen at the end. I mean, this was classic Steelers football. This is the football I grew up with. This was their team from 2005, and these were the guys that made me a Steelers fan. Heath Miller, Hines Ward, Antoine Randall, Deuce Staley, Jerome Bettis, Willie Parker. I'm getting emotional. I miss that Steelers team. But back to what we were talking about. With all shit talk aside about the Steelers' offense, the Titans' offense isn't much better. They're ranked 23rd in the league for points, 24th in yards, 27th in first downs, and 32nd in pass attempts, which, I'll be honest, I don't really think that means much. It just means they run the ball a little bit more. Their defense has 2 interceptions on the year. The Titans' defense has 2 interceptions. The Steelers are ranked 24th in the league in their red zone percentage, and the Titans are 30th. Maybe it's because they don't get to the red zone as often. They have 11 red zone attempts, and the Titans have 22. The Titans have gotten to the red zone twice the amount that the Steelers have this year. With Ryan Tannehill out, I don't think that changes anything. I really don't. I think Will Levis is that guy. If you saw his stats from last week, he fucking put it on him. 19 for 29, which admittedly isn't great. 65% completion. Not bad. 238 yards, 4 touchdowns. I mean, the kid can play football. He was drafted this past year. I will say he hasn't faced the Steelers defense yet. It's going to be a fun game to watch. I'm hoping it's not a shit show fuck fest that ends 10-7 or some bullshit, because we all know the Steelers can't score. And I said it earlier this week, and I'm going to say it again. The Steelers defense scores 2 touchdowns tonight. TJ Watt scores a touchdown. Guaranteed. I would put money on it. I am going to put money on it, but don't listen to me. Now, Vegas agrees with me a little bit. Steelers are minus 152 to win the game. The over-under set at 37 points, which is pretty low for the NFL, for NFL over-unders. Honestly, my heart wants to take the over, but my brain wants to take the under. I think it will be a fuckfest. 14-7, 21-10. Steelers -3. I would take that. It might lose, but I'll take that. Last 4 Steelers games have gone under. The Titans are 4-3 against the spread. So, I mean, this is really, it's kind of a toss-up. If I'm betting on this game, I'm taking the Steelers defense anytime touchdown scorer. I'm taking Will Levis over 1.5 touchdowns. No, I'm not. I'm taking Jaylen Warren with the yards. I'm taking Kenny Pickett under whatever the passing yard line is set at for Kenny Pickett. I'm taking the under. If I'm looking at alternates, I'm taking under 200 all day. No offense to Kenny Pickett, but if you have to the day of the game say, "Oh, I'm going to play for sure," he's still feeling it a little bit. He's in the NFL. He's a competitor, so he's going to play, but he's still feeling it. They're going to rely on Jaylen Warren to get shit done today. Matt Canada needs to stay away from those fucking screen passes that never fucking work. We need to get George Pickens the ball more than one time, because if we don't, we're not going to win. I want to see more medium passes to George Pickens instead of a fucking Hail Mary down the sideline every fucking time. George Pickens is a dog. Give him the fucking ball. Let Jaylen Warren pick up the back end, and we win the game. Utilize Deontay and Calvin Austin where you can. Switch it up. Don't let the Titans know what you're going to do the whole time, and just fucking keep moving the ball. I know it sounds easy. I know it's not easy, but we've been making it look like scoring touchdowns and getting into the red zone is the hardest fucking thing to do in the world. Again, the Steelers defense are going to bail them out tonight. They're going to score at least 1, if not 2 touchdowns. My final prediction, Steelers 17, Titans 13. Take it. Run with it. Actually, don't, because I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. And I'm sure you're tired of hearing me talk about the Steelers, but I'm never going to stop talking about the Steelers. So now I need to rant real quick. A lot of you are probably expecting me to rant about this fucking woman who won't give me my goddamn sweatshirt back, but she's going through some things. So I'll give her a break. Still haven't heard from her, but like, dude, just give me my sweatshirt back. Anyways, that's not the point of today's rant. I fucking hate tofu. I think tofu is a dumb idea. My nephew and I were discussing earlier, and he was ranking sausages, and I know that sounds silly, but like we're just silly guys. I didn't do any rankings. He did his own rankings, and he put Tofurkey at the end of his sausage ranking list. And I said to him, Tofurkey? Did you just list Tofurkey as a fucking sausage? And he said, it's an emulsion. I don't know. And I said, yeah, of non-meat items, dude, you can't call it sausage. And go figure, I was wrong as fuck. Merriam-Webster's second definition of sausage is a non-meat link or patty similar to sausage that is made with various plant-based ingredients. I want to throw up. We're changing the meaning of words. We got to come up with a new word for things like Tofurkey, because it's definitely not sausage. If you tell me that Tofurkey is a sausage, I'm going to fucking slap you. And you know what? I'm going to walk back everything I just said, because this is the sandwich debate all over again. Pretty much everything in the world can be considered a sandwich. And obviously, no, not everything, but like a pizza is an open-faced sandwich. Bread, spread, filler. That's all you need. Bread, spread, and filler. A taco, it's a fold-over sandwich. A hot dog, bread, spread, filler. It's a sandwich. And if you want to debate this, I would love to have you on. Hit me in my DMs. If you want to debate sandwiches with me, I'll go all fucking day. A sandwich is not required to have 2 pieces of bread. A sandwich is not required to have a lot of things to be considered a sandwich. Now, of course, there is a dichotomy to sandwiches. The word sandwich is at the very top, and then you have a waterfall of things coming off of that. You have, of course, burgers. You have your open-faced sandwiches. You have closed sandwiches, such as a calzone or an empanada. Your non-traditional sandwiches, such as a hot dog or a taco. And if you're saying to yourself, how the fuck is a taco a sandwich? Take a soft taco, lay it flat. You put your meat, your cheese, lettuce, whatever the fuck you put on there. You know what I just described? An open-faced sandwich. Fold it over doesn't make it less of a sandwich. Is it still a taco? Yeah, absolutely. But at the top of its dichotomy, it's a fucking sandwich. That's a hill I'll die on. I will die on the sandwich hill. So this is an open invitation to anybody that hears this, anybody that wants to come on and debate sandwiches with me. I would love to. I won't get mad or angry or anything. I mean, like, we'll talk shit to each other because that's what I do. So please do not take me up on that if you cannot handle talking shit and having shit talked to you, because, I mean, that's just what I do. I think the one that pisses off the most people is calling a pizza an open-faced sandwich. Because pizza is such a staple that, like, at no point until I said that have you probably ever considered it a sandwich. But it's the same thing as taking a piece of bread, putting some mayonnaise on it, putting a slice of cheese on it, and then putting some pepperoni on top. That's an open-faced sandwich. Just because the shape or the ingredients or the size, it doesn't make it any less of a sandwich. Of course, it's still a pizza, but it's also a sandwich. I'm not sure how many people will listen to this, but leave something in the comments that you think might or might not be a sandwich. Now, there's obviously things that are not sandwiches. A bowl of pasta is not a sandwich. Stuffing, although it's bread-based and has other ingredients, not a sandwich. It could be argued that stuffing is a salad, though. Think about that. Chew on that for a fucking second. Back to the Tofurkey. Emulsions like that are weird because a lot of things are emulsions, but I can't bring myself to call it a sausage. But at the same time, if I'm going to have this stance on sandwiches that I do have to call Tofurkey a sausage. At the top of its dichotomy, it is a sausage. It's not a true sausage. It's not a traditional sausage. Just like a pizza is not a traditional sandwich, not even a traditional open-faced sandwich, but it is one. So I'll admit here today that Tofurkey is, in fact, a sausage. That's a hill I'll die on. I was ready to die on the other side of that hill earlier, but got to keep an open mind. When you're wrong, you're wrong. I want to talk about Hinge, dating app. I don't know if you've ever had any experience with it, but, Tinder hasn't really been working out for your boy. And no offense, but Tinder is either women that are very, very attractive and likely out of my league. I'm not going to be mean, but the other ones are the opposite end of that spectrum. And the ones on the opposite end of the spectrum, the ones that aren't the absolute smoke shows that are a little bit out of my league, those are the ones looking for relationships. And sorry, baby, but not going to happen. And it seems like all of the attractive ones on there are really just looking to fuck. I got no problem with that, but I'm not trying to have one-night stands. I don't know. I've never been into one-night stands or hookups or anything like that. Just seems kind of pointless to me. I know some of you probably will disagree, and that's okay. We're allowed to have different opinions. But the whole hookup culture and one-night stands and shit like that, I just maybe I'm just not seeing what everybody else is seeing, but I'm cool on it. Very cool on it. Took my car last night and went to the gas station. Bought 4 Kansas Inns. You know what? They were on sale for a long time. 2 for $7. I'm thinking, oh shit, I might be able to get 5 with a $20 bill. I walked up. Nah, not on sale anymore. Ended up paying $22 for 4 Kansas Inns. But I'm proud of myself because I went there to buy cigarettes. Now, I'm not a cigarette smoker. I don't smoke cigarettes. But when I'm stressed, oh yeah, give me a pack of cigarettes. Especially if I'm drinking. Oh, if I'm drinking, I am chugging cigs. Big time. American Spirit Blacks, my cigarettes of choice when I do smoke them. I like to keep a stash for when I'm extra stressed. And what's today? Thursday? Over the last 5 days, I smoked the entire pack. That's how stressed I've been. I was up for 40 hours at one point. I took a walk at 4 a.m. I walked 3 miles at 4 in the morning because I couldn't sleep. Been doing a lot of walking. This cold weather is fucking me over there. I don't want to walk when it's that cold. I owe Planet Fitness a fuck ton of money. They just keep trying to take it out of my account, and I just keep reversing the charge. Fuck off. Stop trying to take money from me, you pieces of shit. I know I gotta cancel my thing. I know it's my fault. Don't worry. I'm aware. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sticking around. It's been a wonderful time chatting with you today. Tomorrow we've got a big episode. We've got Filthy Friday, and if that intrigues you, you better stick around and find out. We've got another segment of Keyboard Warriors with Ragin' Raccoon. We have a nice, long conversation where we cover a plethora of topics. But we talk about the intricacies of being a streamer, what being a streamer really means. A lot of people don't understand the work that it takes to be a streamer. Anybody can sit down, turn on a webcam, and play a video game, but not a lot of people can do it for 5 hours at a time with 2 people watching every day for a week. And I won't spoil too much of the conversation, but it's a great conversation. He's been very successful. I'm excited to see where this takes him next. I know I've always enjoyed his stream. He's a good friend of mine. And then, of course, on Monday's episode, we will have Joe Bob, Movie Monday. We're going to be talking The Covenant, Jake Gyllenhaal, 2023. I was supposed to watch it last night, my first watch. I like to do 2 watches if I'm going to review a movie. If you are someone that's here and you don't know who I am, actually, a lot of people that are here that do know me might have also not listened to my podcast. Joe Bob, his brother Mad Mike, and myself have 3 episodes of a podcast called The Drunken Stone, DRUNKEN, The Drunken Stone on Spotify. We get fucked up, we review movies, and it's a good time. They're long listens, but if you've got some time and you like movies, Joe Bob is a movie connoisseur. He is an authority on film, so I'm very excited to sit down with him again for the first time since The Drunken Stone and do a movie review. We're going to have a great time. It's going to be a great review. But again, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. I love every single one of you. @DickieDinero on Twitter. Send me a follow request. Let's chat. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Panda, and this has been another episode of Panda Rants.